y'all. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. I'm your host, Lisa, and y'all, I am so excited for today's show because I'm chatting with Alison Sweeney. I mean, hello. She's basically Hallmark royalty at this point, no? She's got not one, but two successful mystery series, Murder, She Baked, and the latest Chronicle Mysteries, but also her standalone movies, the Christmas movies. Side note, if you haven't watched The Irresistible Blueberry Farm, I'm going to need you to go ahead and do that. I mean, listen to this podcast first, but then hop on to Hallmark Movies Now and catch that. Plus she has another one on there, Love on the Air. Love is on the Air. Love on the Air. Either way, yes, today I am chatting with Alison Sweeney and we're going to talk all things Chronicle Mysteries. And let's go ahead and get her on the line, yeah? Hi, Alison. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be chatting with you.
All right, thank you. So real quick, before we get started, I just wanted to tell you that I did pre-listen to some of your guest episodes on some other podcasts. And
cool.
Yeah, and I was listening to the episode on Truth and Justice with Bob Ruff. And at the beginning, when he was like, my wife wanted to make sure that I said, hello, Sammy, which I thought was hilarious. I kind of had the same experience because when I told my husband I was going to interview, he like, she was on Tales from the Dark Side. He like flipped out and was like, you have to bring that up. I'm like, oh, okay. Like he went downstairs and got the DVDs and everything. He has the incomplete series.
No way. He has the DVDs. I'm not even sure I knew that those DVDs are available to purchase.
Yes. Oh, we have them. And so he was like, okay, you have to really tell. I'm like, okay, yes. So I did my duty and yes.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So
I remember it vividly. It was like, maybe I think the name of the episode and my line was, I can't help saying goodbye. And my character was super creepy. Yeah.
Yes. I saw photos because of course he was like, you have to look at, so of course I did. And I was like, yes, because you put hands on people and then they died. It was amazing. So of course now I'm like, okay, I have to go watch the episode.
Yeah. My argument was that I think she just could see the future and she knew they were going to die. Okay. And she was like saying goodbye. But I think it's open to interpretation.
Gotcha.
Because then at the very end, it ends quite dark. I'll just say that. Okay. There's a good surprise ending.
All right. I gotcha. Okay. So, but yeah, you're like a podcasting pro now. Because you've been on several episodes. I mean, we all know you from TV, obviously, Days of Our Lives, Biggest Loser. You know, Hallmarkies know you from Murder, She Baked, Christmas at Holly Lodge, Love on the Air. But now you've done a few guest spots on podcasts. How was that?
I love the podcast world. So I am a podcast junkie myself. And so it's so exciting for me to be on podcasts every time. I'm like, oh, I'm doing a podcast today. I'm so excited. Like, it's just this uncharted territory. I love the longer conversations. I love listening to people. And there's something about it, like I can do it all the time, and I'm cleaning the house and I'm, driving. Like it's terrible because I actually really like music, but I really don't listen to music that much anymore. I'm listening to, all sorts of podcasts. So for me, it's been great.
Yeah, same here. At my day job, I work in an open air cubicle kind of place. And so I pop in my AirPods and I just listen to podcasts all day. And people are always like, what are you listening to? Like, what music? And I'm like, no, this is a murder. And this guy totally is, I'm about to find out. So
I need to know if he did it. So I was actually shopping this morning for an event I have coming up, and I was it was sort of a weird dichotomy because I'm like just wandering through department store and listening to a true crime podcast, and you're just sort of like, oh, that's terrible, and then like, oh, this is cute.
You're like, look at this top. Oh, he totally just like 39 people, but look at this. This is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So any current favorites? I've heard your other favorites in the past, but any currents that you're just like, yes, any new ones?
Well, right now I'm working with Undisclosed podcast, who has always been a favorite of mine. And I think the team of the three of them are fantastic. And the work they're doing is actually, really important. And so the case right now that I'm hosting the Addendum, which is like a follow-up episode that they do after the episode airs, where they answer fan questions. And have really cool, legal experts come on and talk about the case. And it's just so fascinating. Again, I feel like such a fangirl listening to these experts talk about all this legal stuff that they're working on and cases and people they're helping and wrongful convictions. And so it's been really wonderful for me to be able to contribute and do my job as a host, to sort of
awesome.
help that conversation move forward. So I've really enjoyed that, and the case is really amazing. And I was sort of like the final episode of this season with Just Webster. It dropped on Monday, and then my addendum will come out for you and me, I don't know when you're launching this episode, but it airs on Thursday.
Awesome.
On Thursday. And so, you can obviously go back and listen to the whole season, but it's only 3 episodes, but 3 episodes of the investigation and then 3 addendum episodes that I hosted. And you just get a sense of what they're about, what the Rabia and Susan and Colin do. And it's so fascinating. I think the work they're doing is really interesting. So I love doing that.
Man, so you so on your resume, you have actress, and then you have executive producer and author, and now podcaster. You're also a mom and a wife, and you've got 2 kids, and how do you balance all that? It's amazing. I love it. I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. I have a full-time job. I do this on the side, but still it's whoa.
Well, then it's all the same, right? You just sort of try to get through the day, I think. And it is, I will admit, I was in the middle of a lunch meeting, and all of a sudden my phone started to blow up, and I realized I'd left my kid at summer camp, and then my other kid was like, "Mom, when are you coming? You said you were bringing me whatever," and I'm like, "Oh no," my husband's like, "Allie, do you need me to come home from work to do?" I'm like, "No, I got it. It's fine. I can totally handle this."
Mom,
yeah, it was kind of sometimes I juggle a lot of plates, and sometimes they break, but sometimes they don't. And so it works out, I would say I'm 80-20.
I'm saying that's why I appreciate some of your Wine Wednesday posts on Instagram. As a mom, I'm like,
right.
I get it.
You relate, right? And I think so many people do sometimes you just got to relax. And that's why, also it's just so fun to share those moments of watching Stranger Things with my kids, or my daughter and I reading Little House on the Prairie together. I think people really respond. For me, that's what I like about social media, is sort of the real life stuff that catches your interest and you retweet it, or that, things I'm doing that maybe other moms might, I hadn't thought of, Megan and I started watching the series Little House on Amazon, and it's just, I can't tell you, of course I totally cry almost every episode. And I still hate Nellie. I can't, from the innermost workings of my body. But I love that Megan now gets the joke, it's Nellie, those are great things to share with your kids. And it's been fun for me, and to share that with my fans and other moms out there who I think totally relate to all of those experiences.
That's awesome. Yeah. We just recently introduced our kids to Degrassi Junior High, the originals, and they're just whoa.
Yeah.
So we're bringing them back to some old school TV, and I like it. I hadn't thought about Little House, but I might be doing that too, because they need to know about Nellie and her Nelliness.
Those curls.
Yeah. Because I
Totally.
I feel like we're about the same age. I'm in my 40s here. And so I'm like, yes, that's how I grew up. And yes, my kids need to know about it. But okay. So real quick, before we get into Chronicle Mysteries, because I have some questions, I just want to ask you, we were speaking about Instagram. I'm also fascinated with your writing posts, your Horse of Instagram posts. That's amazing. Have you always been a writer?
Oh. Yeah, I started writing when I was a little kid. My mom is a writer. I've definitely posted pictures of her because she is my inspiration. She's incredible. And, I don't want to whatever you call it, name drop her age, but she's, pretty spectacular for her age to be still riding and jumping and out there. And everyone that we ride with at our barn is always so impressed. I can't believe your mom's still out there. And so she's awesome. She's a legend. And it just inspires me to just have fun with being outside, communicating with these incredible creatures. Horses are just such a like amazing, as my daughter says, ponies are her spirit animal.
Oh.
And so she loves to ride. So it's definitely a 3-generational thing. And it brings it, like, what's that girl on Netflix? Like, it brings me joy. So
right. Yeah. Marie Kondo.
it has
brings
to be
me joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has to be part of my life.
But your daughter rides competitively as well. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And
She rides ponies and she rides competitively. And I think I shared, that was a tweet that also, or maybe an Instagram post that I think really affected, a lot of moms really related to, because she won this one class at a horse show that she was at recently. And I cannot tell you, and my husband doesn't understand it. And this part really bothers me, but, I have knots in my stomach, maybe even the night before. Like, I feel so nervous for my kid. And then, of course, it's doubly nervous because I have to pretend like I'm not nervous.
Right.
And it's not that I want her to win. I mean, yes, I'm super competitive and obviously I want her to win, but it's more like I want it to go the way she wants it to go. I want her to be able to do her best. Like, there's so many thoughts that are all twisted up in my stomach, like giving me an ulcer, that it's really a tough thing to be a parent of a kid who's competitive like that.
Right.
And it was really fun to comment on it because I got so many great responses from moms whose kids do all sorts of things, and they just totally knew where I was coming from.
Exactly. My kid plays soccer. My other daughter, she's artistic. And well, both of my kids are artistic, but one of them took the sports route. And I tell you, it's for me, I can't play the game for her and I can't influence anything, but I want to at least set the best environment for her to have the best game possible. So I'm always like, okay, we got to get up early. I'll get your uniform clean. Oh, and then we'll do snacks and we'll do that. And she's like, all right, listen, it's just a game on Saturday, Mom. And I'm like, no. Okay, yeah, but I'm the same way. I get super nervous for her. So I totally
totally. And you try to make a healthy breakfast and I have, little snacks, like a little tangerine, in case she needs a blood sugar boost in the middle of her, of the ride or whatever. And you just want, if my brain power could make, and then of course the hard thing about riding is that there's another element, right? Like the other kids on the field or the baseball, you just want it to go straight into the bat or whatever. And with the pony, I'm just willing the animal to do what she wants. And it's just it's a lot of brain power. It's exhausting.
I totally get it. Okay. So Chronicle Mysteries, your latest series on Hallmark movies and mysteries. I always want to say Hallmark Murders and Mysteries, which I know would work, but
it maybe wouldn't be such a appealing name for a channel, but Hallmark Mysteries, Movies and Mysteries channel. And it's just I love doing mysteries. I think they're super fun. I really loved the Murder She Bakes series. That was really fun for me. And I loved going out on my own and developing a mystery series based in the podcasting space because obviously, as we've previously discussed, we both love podcasts. And I think it allows, what I really liked about it is it allows sort of everyone who's interested to find themselves to become not just an armchair detective anymore. Now you're interacting with people and Bob, you mentioned Bob Ross, crowdsourcing and getting people, together to get to the bottom of something. And I really love that. I think it's so interesting. And I thought it was a perfect foundation for the series.
I really did. I was actually surprised that it hasn't been used more, but I know podcasting relatively
sort of new.
Yeah, it's relatively new. I mean, it's taken off in the last few years, of course, with things like Serial and stuff. So great. And so this concept was such a great idea. And I saw that you kind of did it with Melissa Sammons, who's basically written a lot of your Hallmark movies. Yes.
Yeah, she started working on, she did the last Murder She Baked mystery, and she used to work with me at Days of Our Lives. And so we just sort of really started syncing well together, and she came over and agreed to start doing some of these Hallmark projects, which was really fun.
That's awesome. So did you just pitch an idea to her? Because one of my favorite things to do is to actually talk to writers and authors and talk about their process. So was it just an initial idea and then she came in and fleshed it out? Or are you guys co-writing together? Like, how do you guys, are you picking from real life instances?
Like, she gets credit for writing it. Like that, that is not what I do. Right. But we definitely spend, countless hours on the phone developing the story ideas. We like, I have often found myself in public, like, oh, I shouldn't be talking about this right now. We're talking about like murderers and how you commit the perfect crime. Like, oh, but if he, in fact, I was watching another show just recently where he, someone got killed and they were being choked. It's a show called Yellowstone. And I was like, oh, please, you're totally leaving like bruises on her neck. Like everyone's going to know she was choked. Like it's so funny. You find yourself just having these conversations about crimes and clues and motivation for killing people. And you're like, oh, I think people can hear me right now.
Yeah.
Unwise.
That'd be so awesome. You're just walking around town, you're having a conversation and you're just trying to plot and you're just like, well, if he killed her from behind and left all this blood and right. People are like, what is happening?
Right. What is that? What's Sammy talking about now? Yeah.
That's awesome.
But, and also I live in terror of like the FBI coming and checking my Google
right?
search history. Cause right. Like, I'm like, how to like, does DNA stay out in water after a pool? Like if it's been in a pool for a long time, does chlorine affect the DNA? I was like,
that's awesome. I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
Asking for a friend. Like, it's so weird.
Just, but honestly, I think, beyond the series, now we've had 3 so far, and I know we have 1 coming out at the end of August.
August 25th.
Yes. And we'll talk about that one. More planned, or can you say yet? Uh-oh.
Well, we are developing more. Yes. And so I definitely want to let the fans know, Alex is definitely working on some new mysteries to come in 2020. But this one is the last one that'll air in 2019.
Okay. Well, I want to say now, just throwing this out there, Hallmark Publishing, these would make good cozy mysteries too. There, I said it. I just want to throw that out in the universe that I think that either, novelizations or even...
You're good. Yeah, you're a good business-minded person. I like that.
I'm going to say that. Because I love some cozy mysteries, and I'm like, these would make some good ones. Okay, so the new one, The Deep End, I've actually been lucky enough to watch it already. So I'm going to try and keep this spoiler-free because, of course, people won't have watched this by the time this drops. But I'm going to say wow, and I really can't wait for the sleuthers to see this and for the live tweeting that's going to happen because I know it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we're going to set them on fire a little bit. I'm excited. A little bit.
So what can you tell us about this latest one without being spoilery?
Right.
Yes.
So what I really liked about this newest one is that we delve a little bit more into Alex's personal life. Obviously I think it's fun because we start off with a great podcast case, and I was inspired by some of the podcasts I listen to that cover current events, like a trial that's ongoing. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that would be an interesting new angle for the podcast. So it's a little more like, it's not such a cold case. It's something that's happening live and it's in town, and Drew is covering it for the newspaper and Alex is trying to cover it from a different angle in the podcast, covering the trial as it's ongoing. And so I thought that was a really cool sort of different take for the podcast. And then because it's sort of urgent and time critical and the case is really happening, it's on trial right then, it allows for us to follow Alex and Drew, and they spend a little more time together. And so you get a chance of maybe seeing them interact in a more personal, intimate way and see a little more into Alex's emotions.
Yes, I'm glad you said that because I wanted to ask you, were there any improv moments? Because you and Benjamin Ayers, y'all have really good chemistry, and some of y'all's scenes really look like y'all were just kind of joking around, but it got filmed. And in this latest one, I'm just like, were there any improv scenes? Because he was cracking me up for real.
there were a few, he's very funny. And there were a few moments that we ad-libbed, that ended up in the final cut because it was just he's so great. And when he does that, and it's a fun, right. Cause you get to see behind Alex a little bit, but also you see a little more of Drew, cause Drew really has been, such an important character in the series in that he's, kind of great for Alex to banter, and they have different methods of going about solving a case. And he's a dad, and he, obviously kind of looks at Alex longingly, but hasn't done anything about it. And,
right.
And so now it's fun to see them spend sort of the weekend together. I feel I can give away that, like, they end up sort of on a hunt, to figure something out, and they end up spending the weekend, like, off hours together. And so you get to see a little more of Drew, like casual Drew.
Yes.
And Ben was so great at that. And yes, there were some fun ad-libbed moments where he caught me off guard, and we had some fun exchanges that ended up in the movie. There's one in particular at the end where there's something that happens at the end, and we ended up ad-libbing like the whole last little part of it. And it was just I loved that Hallmark liked it too. It was great.
Yeah, it worked really well. I mean, I think part of the reason why I really enjoy this episode is because we get to see, at the beginning of the series, Drew was almost like an antagonist. He was just kind of like, I don't want to deal with this. Who is this person? Why am I having to even talk to her? But by this fourth installment, we see him really working more with Alex and supporting her investigations, which personally I think is fantastic. And if I could just say real quick, which is why I was Team Norman on Murder, She Baked, because he was like super into sleuthing with her. So
yeah.
I'm super pro like Drew doing this. So is there any chance that this is going to lead to, progress? And when I mean progress, I mean Hallmark sanctioned progress, not.
Right, exactly. So I think we wanted to create like a little bit of the push and pull of Drew and Alex kind of having different ways of going about, solving the crime, right? He's old school. She comes in all like podcasts are hip. Like, what do you mean? Let's just go like break into their house. And he's like, you can't do that, But I love that. Yes, I think that she sort of won him over, right? Like she's solved these cases. He's sort of been slow to come around, and he's still like sort of doing the newspaper his way. But he understands, and he sees that like either way she's going to go do it. So he might as well like get in on the action and figure out like, tell his story too. And I think that it was really fun for him to sort of say in this one, like, hey, I'm off this weekend. I'm happy to like roll up the sleeves and help you out. And it was really cute because then we started a new thing in this movie where she starts tempting him to maybe podcast with her, like be a co-host. And so that was a fun new element to add. And like, maybe, who knows, maybe he'll change his mind someday. I don't know. That might take a while, but it's fun that she's teasing him about it.
Yes, I was excited. I was like, don't do this. Don't tease me, because he's got good radio voice and that would work.
He does have a good radio voice.
So I was like, yes. Okay. So this, I'm not exactly sure. I think we are dropping this the day of. So for all you listeners out there, this will come out tonight. It's Chronicle Mysteries, The Deep End. And I just have one more question for you, because I know your time is limited. What's the one thing that you would like people to take away from this character or series, this new series of movies? Like,
from Alex and Chronicle Mysteries. I think what I really like about the series is that Alex is someone who has been on her own a little bit. Her mom passed away, and she is finding and kind of surrounding herself with a family of her choosing, these great people who work at the Chronicle and her uncle Miles. And it's really fun to see them then draw her out. She's starting to unpack. She's starting to settle in and maybe stay. And so it's really great to to see that develop, and it might take a little while, but that's okay. And hopefully the fans really relate to that feeling of like, I want it to work out. I want it to be okay, but it's not always easy,
Right.
and to trust and to give people a chance. So
Agreed.
I think that's what's really fun for me about this character.
That's awesome. Yeah, because everything's not linear. I mean, there's ebbs and flows, and I can totally identify with Alex's character, just kind of being a very independent person and then learning to open up and trust with some others. I love it. I think it's a great message. So, okay. So, where can people find you on social media if they want to?
So I would love for people to follow me at Allie Sweeney on Instagram and at Allie_Sweeney on Twitter. And I think you just search Alison Sweeney on Facebook. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's official Alison Sweeney. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm more of an Instagram, Twitter person myself. So yes, but I already follow you. But everybody else, get on that.
Come join the fun. And I post lots of behind the scenes. Also, you can follow Chronicle Mysteries on Instagram or and Twitter. And on Instagram, it's at Chronicle Mysteries. And you can get some behind the scenes photos and fun insight, and to keep you up to date.
I like when y'all post pictures because then I play photo assumption and then I try and figure out what's happening. And then I'm usually super wrong, but it's always fun in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally what's happening. No, not at all. But all right. Well, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And everybody check out Chronicle Mysteries, The Deep End, August 25th on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries at 9 Eastern. So,
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah, good talk. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, y'all, that about does it. So thank you so much for joining me as I talk to the amazing Alison Sweeney. I mean, y'all, seriously, is she not awesome? I think she's super inspirational. I mean, as a mom, as a professional woman, I just think she's awesome. So yeah, if you're not already following her on social media, get on that. And speaking of social media, if you would like to follow the podcast, you can follow Hallmarkies Pod on Twitter. On Instagram, we are Hallmarkies Podcast. And if you are so inclined, you can join us over at patreon.com/Hallmarkies, where for as little as $2 a month, you can have access to exclusive patron-only content. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. We really do appreciate your continued support of this podcast. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and see you later. Bye.